Chapter 27, Like Those Who Are No Longer. Unfortunately, several friends of the participants in the colloquium passed away after Wait for Your Sons. One of them was Sandy Turner, whose sister and her husband, Jack, visited in Yinba, Ghana. I had met her before in Washington at a Fulbright grant recipient reunion. Her husband came from Ohio, where she taught, to Chicago, where she had previously taught, and held a memorial service in her memory. Despite my pain over her leaving us after she returned from Africa, I was glad to have met her and initiated the colloquium, which brought us very close and helped make our stay in Africa a success. She enjoyed it so much that she asked to stay another year in Ghana. I would have gladly stayed another year too, but without a friend who didn't like Africa by my side, it made life more complicated. The second person who passed away was Olivier Tieta from our institute in Porto Novo. I heard after a few years that he had been injured in a motorcycle accident. It took the ambulance a long time to get to the scene of the accident, and by the time they got to the hospital, he was pronounced dead. He was also a great person who helped me a lot in adjusting to my new place. When I arrived in Benin with my second Fulbright grant in 2011, I heard about the death of my cook, Pascal, and managed to attend his funeral with my friend Pauline. At the funeral, I met Pascal's three children, who were very moved by my participation. You are welcome. Did your father cook? Asked one of them. Of course, you probably remember me. Do you remember that we went to Ouida together? I asked the little girl. That's right. Dad also brought us here and there to help him, especially when you had parties. Indeed, I remember. He was a great man. I'm very sorry about his death. Yes, we are very sad. Now we don't have either mom or dad. It would be hard without them, I imagine. If you want, you're welcome to visit me for dinner one day. I'm at Odebe University this year in Cotonou. I have a cook not as good as your dad, who was an excellent cook, but good enough for you to enjoy the meal. They even asked to have their picture taken with me. Many people asked to be taken with me, but without the Polaroid camera that I had with me most of the time, I couldn't share the many photos with them. Pascal's funeral was typical of other funerals in Benin, and I went to a few of them during my stay. Most of the people invited to a particular funeral bought the same type of African cloth, and each sewed an outfit for themselves. So at the funeral, everyone almost looked the same color with a different design and the same fabric. Funerals were not usually held immediately after death. as in Israel and other countries. The funeral is one of the most important care ceremonies in a person's life. The family lives modestly all their lives, saving money for the funeral. It takes a long time to inform all relatives and friends about the event, both so that they have time to come from many different cities and so that they have time to collect the money and sew the clothes. At the funeral, they really celebrate the life of the deceased. They have a nice meal, invite a musical orchestra, and drinks. I was very surprised at the first funeral I was invited to. It was the funeral of a person who had lived for over 100 years. A rare thing in Benin. I didn't understand why everyone was celebrating. They explained to me that the deceased ascends to heaven and meets his ancestors, so they are happy for him. The body is sometimes frozen for a few months until the time of the ceremony arrives. Most of the deceased I met in their lives were younger than me. They simply didn't live past the age of 50. Only one funeral was without great joy. It was for a 16-year-old boy who was killed in an accident. There, for the first time, I felt the pain of his death.